voice of growth, mastering the mind and market. Welcome to the Voice of Growth podcast, mastering the mind and market. My name is Manny Teran, and I'm your host. Amor Fati. What the hell does that even mean? Well, first of all, the little translation in Latin is love your fate. And love your fate, Amor Fati, is one of the central pillars of Stoic philosophy. And why this is so important to you, I'll share with you in this podcast. Because for me, it's been life-changing. It's been a way to walk away from any semblance of a victim mentality and embrace whatever happens in the world for you. So one side is the world is happening around me and causing things to me. And the other one is the world's happening around me and causing things for me. It's a very subtle difference, but once you recognize the power of it, your business, your life will never be the same. Here's my foundation. As a kid, I was captain victim. My father died when I was 1, so I grew up without a father, which in a vacuum is not a big deal. I would have known the difference anyway. But what happened is people around me imprinted this victim mentality upon me. Aunts and uncles that had the best at heart for me would say, "Oh, dear child, your father passed away when you were 1. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for you." And so all these things happened around me. I'm like, what is happening here? And so I grew up with this thing like, oh, something's missing, or that I look just like him. And for a while, I actually pushed this away of like, I'm my own person kind of a thing. And so I went through this kind of complex aspect growing up. And what I realized in probably early high school is when I really embraced this idea of, you know what? Where I once used to push away from the idea that I looked like my father, that I acted like the way he did and so forth, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it because he is part of me, whether or not I ever met him or not, or remember or not. My height, my health, my mannerisms, my sense of being, my playfulness, my comic nature, whatever you want to call it. These are things that from a DNA aspect came to me through my father. He helped to create me. He helped me to bring me into this world. So I embraced it. And in doing so, I actually went through my first sort of Amor Fati lesson. When I embraced the fact that I didn't have a father, so that gave me so many other things that many others in this life do not experience. First of all, by having not had a father, I actually had the ability to create my sense of masculinity the way I wanted to. Me as a father I was able to create a sense of fatherhood without having any pretense of the way it was done to me. I grew up and it was raised by my grandmother, my mother, actually both grandmothers. And I had this sense of almost like a feminine vision and ability to see empathy in a different way, sympathy in a different way, which helped me massively in business and in negotiations. All these things are edges that I have because I didn't grow up without a father. And so I embraced it. Is it sad? Do I ever sort of stray off the trail and get sad about it? Of course I do. But very, very rarely, because I've actually embraced it. And this aspect of embracing your fate comes with such power. It happened many years later as well. I had built up this company from nothing. I had great employees. We had just a fantastic culture. We were doing amazing projects. We were a pillar in the community, and it all kind of came to an end. An earlier version of me might have said that it all came crashing down, or might have said that the market was relentless and handed it to us. I could have said that, whatever, all these things, but I chose here to say that it came to an end. Because that chapter, as amazing as it was nothing more than a chapter. And I love the fact that I got to start this company and that I got to have such an amazing ride and was able now then to turn the page and have done amazing things afterwards. Now, some people would sit there and reflect of, well, if I would have continued on, I would have had this lifestyle or this and that. No one knows that. Nobody knows that. We don't know what tomorrow brings. But now in my life, I'm so thoroughly happy. I'm so joyful that I am where I am. I can't imagine having had that trajectory and where would it have gone? I don't know. I don't care. I don't live in that world. I live in this world. And I'm happy for that fate. Amor Fati doesn't mean that you embrace it or that you're like okay with it. No, it means you love it. You love your fate. You love it and you recognize that we're on this earth making waves, taking names, and making things happen. And that has so much power to it. I have friends that are still suffering from the loss of their companies, still struggling with the fact that they had to close down what was their dream job. And I'm giving them all the room they need, and I'm being supportive, but I'm also pushing a bit. I'm also pushing a bit because I know that as human beings, we have a tendency to have this loop play back in our heads. You see, human beings, we want to be in stasis. Our body and our minds together want to keep us in stasis with very little variation, because variation means discomfort. And we're hardwired to seek comfort. And comfort is a killer. Comfort is a killer. You get complacent, you get stuck in a rut, you don't want to move, you don't want to change, you don't want to make waves, so you stay in this stasis, in this place in the middle with very little variation. But it's when you open it all up, when you sit in the muck, you sort it out, you go to that high mountain, whatever it takes for you to do that, sort it the hell out, so that when you come back, you have this fervor about you to embrace whatever the world will bring you. And you change that narrative from this is happening to me to this is happening for me. I'm very passionate about this because I have lived it, I have lived through it, and now I live it in a different way. I have lived that victim mentality when things are happening. Oh my God, they're happening to me. And woe is me. I tried so hard and da 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 da. No, forget that. Now I embrace it as they come, and it's giving me this calm sensibility. So when I make decisions now, I'm making them from a very different place. And by having that different mentality, my decisions tend to be on a better path for growth. That idea of good or bad decision in business is something that I want you to get out of your head. Decisions are all based on available data, mixed in with the world around you, mixed in with bias. Boom, decision. What happens is in that moment, your bias or the world around you or whatever might be happening may change over time. So what could have been or what you ascribe to be a good decision down the road could show itself to be a bad decision. I remember we hired this person back in when I had as Tara, my previous company. And this person was going to fill a role that was very critical in our organization. We sought this person out for probably a year. Finally got them in, gave them this giant paycheck, rolled out the red carpet because they were going to come in and bring everything together in our company and take us to new heights. Well, 9 months later, we recognized we had made the wrong decision, that person had things about them that were not discovered during the interview process. Because, as we've talked about in the past, Some people are really good interviewers and terrible employees. And bias is the part that we need to get across and out of our vision in order to make the best decisions for that moment, recognizing that things may change. Now in business, things change all the time. There's other moments where I thought, man, this decision I made was terrible. Year and a half, 2 years down the road, best decision ever. So that best and wrong and this and that, those things are, we use them as human beings because they're part of our language, but we got to recognize that there's the other elements of bias and the world around us and time that will change that from one to the other, maybe even back to the first one. In my life, I have endured a lot of hardship by my own making. I have taken things in my life and I have blown them out of proportion, and I have sat in them and I've not gotten out of that filth for a long time out of my own doing. I met this amazing woman. I was out, had already graduated college. She was getting her PhD. She was beautiful, exotic, so smart, so funny, and we had all these moments together. And I decided over time, we started dating, and eventually we moved to Michigan, and I made her my wife. I proposed to her, and we went through that whole process. It was beautiful. It was so many things that in my life I learned from that relationship. And over time, the narrative I've told myself is that, oh, you never, people change, and I'm not happy with her anymore, and da-da-da-da. And part of that is what I told myself. But the Amor Fati part is love your fate. Recognize that, there's this adage of you never divorce the person you marry, because obviously they change. We ended up getting divorced. And I had this sort of woe is me for probably a year, when I was struggling with the fact that this beautiful relationship came in crashing down. Hear my words, crashing down. And that I was the person that was suffering because she changed, and I was a perfect husband and all that. BS. 100% BS. What I just said there, and I chose my words carefully because I wanted to make a point that a person who I am now in a different place, resolved and healed from that situation, constantly learning, constantly reflecting, making adjustments, would instead say that I had this beautiful relationship. I made her my wife. We had beautiful children together. And we had precious moments. We learned so much. We had lots of moments of personal growth and challenges that opened up both our lives to a deeper form of happiness that we never would have had otherwise. And that came to an end. Simple as that. That came to an end. And we might struggle from time to time, but I always come back to the fact that we had this amazing time. And relationships that I've had past that, and business operations and partnerships that I've had past that, I now frame with that mentality of it was a moment in time that these amazing things happened. These other things for growth and personal development also happened, and it came to an end. And it provided the energy, resources, experiences, and mission, direction, vision for me now that wouldn't have happened unless those things happened for me. I am so proud to be where I am today, and it's because of what in the world happened for me yesterday. This is a constant, vigilant, little operating system, little loop program that needs to run constantly. Do I veer off of it sometimes? Very rarely, but I do. There's moments when I have a wind of sadness or a wind of victimhood comes blowing down the way, but it doesn't last long. It may happen once a month, here and there, randomly. And I sit with it. I don't push it away. These are all little hacks, by the way, that I've learned over my days is, you don't push these things away. You let them come, you let them fill you with whatever sense, whatever feelings that are there present. And then just as fast as they come in, they flow out. Sometimes when these things happen in my days and I feel a little sad or a little like what would it have been XYZ, I take a walk. And I take a walk around my neighborhood here. I take a walk around the house. I take a walk in nature. And that moves my body and it moves my mind and it moves my spirit. And these things, they too shall pass. So as we close up the podcast here, I want you to think about Amor Fati, not as I tolerate my fate. I like my fate. No, amor. I love my fate. Whatever the world brings you, embrace it. As crappy as it may sound, as much struggle as it causes in your day, love it. Even these things that are annoyances and things that are aggravating to you are all there, part of a plan, part of your fate, in order to get you prepared for you to make the decision to get to where you need to go. I'll tell you a quick story. Had a recent situation. So I've always had good teeth. I've taken care of my teeth. And years ago, I broke a tooth on a chicken bone. Long story. But ever since that, I've been very vigilant and been taking really good care of myself. A few days ago, I was having some ice cream and there was chunks of frozen chocolate bars in there. Took a bite, hit my right side, and I'm like, what is happening? Didn't think much of it. Went to bed, woke up at 3 a.m. with this terrible pain. At 6 a.m, I texted my dentist and set up an appointment that day. Luckily, I have this amazing concierge dentist and was able to go in there immediately. Took a look. Turns out I had an infection in my the root of my tooth that I might have been there for months, many, many, many months, that I didn't even know about. I was a little bit tender there previously, but I didn't think much of it. This situation that happened for me in that toothache in the morning and me going to the dentist and having him do the x-ray and all that, it showed this infection that would not have been seen unless that occurred the way it did. It could have been catastrophic. It could have been something that got in my bloodstream and caused sepsis. It could have been massive. It could have been terrible. But because I caught it in time and I had this annoyance, this nuisance, I now have the ability to deal with this. And Lord willing, I'll be past this in no time at all. Annoyances, but love your fate. In business, we had I remember this PO we had, man, it was about 50% of our yearly revenue, one single purchase order, massive back in the day. We got the check in the mail and went to cash it, and we needed the money to buy equipment. We had payroll coming. We had all these things in place. Went to cash it, and the bank said, we need to hold it for 10 days. What? First of all, it was a giant amount of money that we had not seen a check like that before in our day. So the bank was certainly cautious. And it was from a random bank in Massachusetts, some like local bank. And this is back in like 2014, 2015. So you didn't have as much of this back end stuff on the banking system like we do now, all the fintech stuff. So that 10 days was, I remember, a drag. We had payroll coming. I had never missed payroll. We had things we had to buy in order to keep the machine running on new projects. So what do I do here? How do I deal with this situation? And I had lots of moments like this, by the way. And as entrepreneurs, as business owners, you know what I'm talking about. These moments when we make decisions, when we have to make decisions based on available data, understanding that our biases are in the mix, and knowing that the world's changing around us. But we make the best decision in that moment for balancing all these things out. So at the moment, I made 2 decisions, both of which ended up being positive. One of them sounds negative. I had to take money out of savings to write a check to cover payroll. And that was it. Employees didn't know. My CFO knew, but nobody else knew. And I didn't want to make a big deal. Whatever. I paid myself back. The second thing is we got a line of credit from the bank. And it allowed us, we didn't get it on the moment, but we took about a month to get it. But that allowed us to then, in the future, deal with things like this when they came to pass, which, by the way, happened about a year later when we had another massive purchase order, and we had that line of credit that helped move things along, and we were able to play our cards right and win that game. So these things, as they happen in the world for you, take that attitude, embrace them, love your fate, spend every day in gratitude, and be aware that you get to make these decisions in your business. You get to stand there and have these difficult moments with your employees, with your team, with the market at large. Be proud of yourself, be happy about it, embrace it, and love your fate. Thanks for listening. Cheers.